During my live sale, somebody bought some mugs. They're back there in the corner. I am all set up for another live sale on Niknax.net. It's going to be late on Saturday night. I'm going to start at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am using my new and improved setup. I just got this along with another shelf at a Salvation Army, and it works perfect for my small items. I have lots of miniatures in this show, along with planters and some larger items. So all the large items seem to be on the left, minis kind of in the center, and a little bit over here. I'll let you know what sells in the sale once it's done. During my live sale, somebody bought some mugs. They're back there in the corner. I need to take them upstairs and put them with her other order. I also had another person who bought something on the live sale, then went into my buy it now and purchased this, the bunny. Look at those ears. Here are the items that sold on Saturday night. This pottery bowl, which I love. I love the design on the side of it. It wasn't signed, but I really love that. The little mini stein sold. This is from Duncan Enterprises. The opalescent little mini bud vase. The mini teapot back there. My Fenton vase was the first thing that sold. The Doe Ridge pottery. This is actually an oil lamp, but it can be used as a bud vase. The footed vintage. It has a bird on it because Crazy Lamp Lady always likes to pick up things with birds. It's a whole thing. These are vintage coffee mugs, or they look more like for tea because they're small, but actually vintage coffee mugs are kind of on the small side. This little plate is just so adorable because of the windmill on it, the bridge, the lake. That sold along with items out of my buy it now. These two Longaberger mugs and the rabbit with the really tall ears. He is just so unique. I sold a total of 10 items. My cost of goods on those items was $30.28, and I sold them for $131 plus shipping. During my live sale, I was showing this paperweight that is also a bud vase. See how it has a hole up here and there's like a bubble inside that you can, well, I wouldn't put a real flower in it, maybe an artificial one, but it turns out this is a paperweight and it's an oil lamp. Somebody in the chat was like, I have one of these. They're from Poland. She went on to send me messages and pictures of the one she has. So there's a little brass topper that you put the wick down into, which you can buy off of Amazon. She said they're available on Amazon. And I had seen that it was mentioned to be an oil lamp, but I was like, I'm not going to mention that because I didn't know for sure. So I was glad to get the confirmation. Niknax.net is just such a friendly environment. She was so helpful, and she educated me and everybody that was in the chat. I had to go around my emporium and pull together a bunch of items. Some of the items were in my live sale, and one person bought all of these. I'll go over what she actually bought. I'm showing you more because I still have my table set up from one of my live sales. And here's an interesting feature on Niknax in the Buy It Now. When the sellers are listing their items, they have an option to swipe on offer buttons. So if you list something up for $25 and you swipe that offer button on, people can send you offers and you can accept them or not accept them. And so I have that offer button on, I think, all of my items, unless I missed swiping it on, if that makes sense. Of course, you can swipe it off. If there's things that you are firm on your price, or you think you're giving someone a good price, you can swipe that off. And so they have to buy it for the price that you have it listed at. Not that you can't go in and edit that price at any time, you can. So anyways, I had somebody in one of my live sales. She bought a few things from the auction, and then she went in and started making offers on a whole bunch of my Buy It Now items. So it's a total of 9 items that she bought. And I'm just going to go left to right. This isn't the order that she bought them in or anything like that. But she bought this baby Afghan. She got this Longaberger little crock, the little cranberry one. She got this iridescent Starbucks mug. She got this teacup and saucer. It's got a butterfly on the handle. She purchased this Jeanette platter. It's got the herringbone pattern with the irises on it. It is, it's amber, but it also is carnival glass. She also got the Otagiri teapot with the 2 handleless mugs or cups. Because it's a teapot, I guess it's cups, like teacups. She also got this bohemian style vase. That looks black. Let me see if I can get it to shine cranberry for you guys. There we go. There we go. It is actually a cranberry color when the sun shines through it. She also got this cobalt blue, it's an Avon like cologne bottle. It's called the Stanley Steamer. So I was telling people, and I'm trying to tell everyone this now, because I've actually sold other Avon pieces on Niknax and other platforms for that matter. Glass makers made the glass for this. Even though they made way too many of them, millions of these, they just oversaturated the market. That's why they're not worth a lot. You definitely have to, if you're going to try to flip them, you have to get them at the lowest price possible. I did not get a lot for this item, but I have a few that have sold, and I have one more back there, an Avon bottle back there. I don't know if I have any more pieces. Just on the table here, I have 2. So she bought this. And then she also bought this studio art pottery bowl that's signed on the back. So I have a lot of shipping to do. My total cost of goods on all of the items was a grand total of $24.32, and I sold them for $77 plus shipping. I am listing up all of my single shakers. These were made by OCI in the mid-90s. I just keep adding in new items and moving my items around so it looks fresh every time the buyers come in, especially if they haven't really come into my shows before. It'd be all new to them. I rolled some of my items from my previous show on Saturday into my Monday night show, And I pulled to the front here the items that sold on Monday night. This sold out of the Buy It Now, and the rest of the items sold on auction. This is a very large lidded trinket dish by Toyo, a fish teapot. This is a single shaker mailman from the 90s. He's OCI is the name on him. I have multiple ones left. I sold the dog figurine, so I have those 3, and he's sold now. I also sold the parrot salt and pepper shakers, and this is also made by Toyo, Japan, so both are Japanese, and this is just a really large trinket dish. I got ahead of myself and started wrapping up the solds. That is the mailman shaker in there. And I didn't tell you what I paid for it and what I sold it for. My cost of goods was $17.62, and I sold it for $43 plus shipping. I am listing up this Indiana Glass Apothecary ginger jar and this Pyrex promotional dish. I also cross-posted them to multiple platforms. It's the end of January, so I decorated for Valentine's Day on the back of my table here where I do all my live sales on Niknax. Now, my items aren't necessarily for Valentine's Day. They're just vintage variety. As you can see, I have a very eclectic mix of items on the table here. This is the thumbnail I'm using for my live sale. But before it can even get started, I am listing up more items. The Anchor Hocking milk glass vase, and the farmer figurine, and the woman figurine with the bunny and the dog, and this trinket box egg that I found that I didn't even know I had. I found space to squeeze those items on the table. I did a live sale on Niknax last night. I almost didn't do it. I was feeling tired. I was like, oh, I'm just going to veg tonight. And then I thought, well, I did start those listings up there. Let me just go up and finish those listings. And as I was doing that, I'm like, well, I got a little energy now. Let's go and do a live sale. I am so glad I did because I sold 13 items. The first item that sold were these Longaberger cereal bowls out of the Buy It Now. I have a few more items down here in my basement annex to gather up, and then I'll bring it all upstairs and I'll show you all the items that sold during the live sale, plus all the Buy It Now items. I sold some Christmas ornaments, not this one on top. I'm going to try to reach over here without falling over, but I sold these. Put them in my, I actually use a little shopping basket to carry things up and down. I have more ornaments. They're in, I put all of these paper mache ornaments together, but the yellow ones sold. It's a set of 6, so I got to dig those out, but I'm going to just bring the whole bag up with me, and then I'll bring the ones back that I don't need back to the basement. While I'm down here, I am grabbing some barware and a wine glass, a bell, and a pottery mug so I can list those up. I got to keep replenishing my listings. I want to keep adding more and more. Look what's happening over here. I have empty shelves and empty spaces. I want to get these up there. I get a little excited. I'm like, oh, let me grab this, this, and this. But I already have like a bunch of items that I grabbed off of my other shelves and my little nooks and crannies up in my emporium. So I can just grab a few down here. I grab a few from my nooks and crannies upstairs, and then I try to list them all. Oh, I definitely want to get these listed. I want to get this pottery bowl listed. I'm kind of like squirrel. Easily distracted. I want to get this listed on Niknax. That is a carrying case for a doll with all of her clothing. Just to clarify a little bit, this is listed inventory that's down in my basement. There's very few items down there. There's some like Christmas items that aren't listed, but everything else is listed down there and cross-posted to multiple platforms, because I do sell on multiple platforms, except for I have to get these listed up onto Niknax. Because I listed these items on eBay, and then I cross-post if they fit into Poshmark and Etsy and whatnot. And then the new marketplace came along, Niknax.net, and so I'm scrambling to also get my items listed over there. And of course, I've been selling so many more items on that platform, probably because the buyers are all looking for vintage. It's like a vintage marketplace where the sellers are selling vintage and the buyers are all looking for vintage. And that makes a big difference in my sales. I've been so happy with my results over there. I also sold this little clear dog figurine. Let me add that to the mix. I have it all gathered up now. So there's the box of Christmas ornaments. Here's the other set of 6 paper mache ornaments. The gurgling fish back here, which looks like that. There's the Longaberger cereal bowls. I sold some planters. I sold both of my yellow planters, which are the 2 birds on a stump and the little Dutch girl right here watering her tulips. There's the little dog figurine. This little egg trinket box, didn't know I even had. I was listing up a giant, it's a giant rabbit, Fitz and Floyd rabbit. And there was some bags in the center of it. And I thought, oh, I just had them in there just because I don't like it being hollow like that. But when I went to take them out, this egg was in there. So I listed it up. I'm like, why not? I've been selling Easter stuff in January here. I'm selling Christmas stuff in January. I sold this bell, even though it is etched with an R on it, but it's carnival glass. I'm having such a time with that. I have a phonics issue and you'll have to bear with me, but anyways, it's just a beautiful etched bell, glass bell that I got out of that blue glass bin. And then this is a hobbyist piece here. It's a bud vase. Then this is an antique nappy dish from Austria. I just got this. You would have seen this in a haul. See that MZ on there? That's Moritz. And let me see if I can get the last name. It's like ZDE Bauer, like the Bauer. I'm not sure how to say it. Do you remember when I had that Afghans in Linen show? This was in there. I put this in the Buy It Now. All of the Afghans are completely sold now. I have to source for more if I want to do that show again. And I am always on the lookout for those items, no matter what time of the year it is. So this was a hand sewn, with the rickrack and a pocket there, the half waist apron. So somebody made this. This is also out of that blue glass bin. This is an Indiana glass apothecary ginger jar that has so many names that it goes by. So that's all 13 items that I sold. I ran my sale for about an hour and a half last night, and my total cost of goods on these 13 items is $23.83. Sometimes I get really low cost of goods on items. Other times I pay up for items. It all works out in terms of that cost. And I sold them for $133 plus shipping. So if you take $133 and divide by an hour and a half, I was making $88 an hour. You're probably already scratching your head saying, oh no, there's more effort to do these live sales. Yes, there is. Sourcing, listing, doing the show, shipping it afterwards. So let's say for these 13 items, that was around 5 hours worth of work. That's still over $26 an hour. Let's get caught up on that blue glass bin that I bought. So I sold the Stanley steamer, the Avon bottle the other day, and I sold these 2 items. So my total now is $200.39. I'm not sure where that 39 cents came from. I must have sold something for an odd amount. So that just keeps carrying on. So my goal when I bought that box and paid $50 for it was like, I hope I can make $200 on it. I still have more to go. So I'm pretty happy with that purchase. I am off to the post office to drop off all of my solds from the other day. And I also wanted to tell you about, do you remember I did that goal of having 600 items? That was like a top line goal. And then I went above 600 and I don't know how many more I listed, 630, 640. I don't quite remember like the top line number, and that's just on eBay, and then I cross post to all the other platforms depending on what it is. So anyways, I'm down to 512 items on eBay, and I started thinking about that. I'm like, so my eBay is getting to have less and less vintage on it. It still has vintage on it, but it's mostly my clothing, shoes, handbags, flatware, baseball hats, and some other things in there that I can't think of. Oh, the yarn. Yarn and baseball hats, my bread and butter, are on there, along with some other random things that are good for putting on there. I'm certainly not going to not do eBay. I make pretty good money there, but with all my vintage items, I'm making just so much more over on Niknax. Now, I still sell vintage on Poshmark and on Etsy and on whatnot. So I have all that going too. So that also brings that number down on eBay because I have to delist everything. I am listing like crazy. So it's not that. It's not that I'm not listing. I am listing like bunches and bunches of items. So some things that you see me, I say, oh, I listed it or I cross-posted it. It might already be on eBay, and I just got to get it over to Niknax because I'm pulling out like my old inventory and getting it over there. It might already be on Etsy. It could be on Poshmark. It could be in like whatnot too. It could be on 4 marketplaces, but I still got to take pictures and do the description and all that and get that over onto Niknax. So there's a little bit of extra work going on there, just a little bit. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of update you on that. And if my eBay store keeps shrinking, I might actually downgrade my store, but I'm not to that point yet. I still, like I said, have 512 listings on there, and we'll see. It might just morph into what's on there versus what's on all the other platforms. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Put any comments down below. I love reading your comments. And I'll see you guys on the next one.